Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. Today is going to be hopefully another short video. We're just going to be setting up a Express middleware for checking if a user is authenticated. So you should know what an Express middleware is. If you don't, then I highly suggest you learn it since it's a fundamental Express topic. And so you can just apply that middleware wherever you want to protect that route. And what I mean by protecting that route is that only users who are logged in will be able to access those routes. So for example, if you have this like a website that has a dashboard and you don't want people who aren't logged in to be able to see their dashboard, you can just apply this middleware to it and then only authenticated users would be able to see it. So that's all it's going to do. Pretty short video, should take about 10 minutes at most. And yeah, the next video will be some miscellaneous routes that you can use, and after that will be two-factor authentication, and after that we'll be implementing a client-side version form, a client-side form that you can actually use, like a GUI. Okay, so without further ado, let's get started. Okay, so the first thing I'm going to do is I'm going to go to source / over here we're going to create a new directory. So click the new folder button and call it middlewares. So this is going to store all of our middlewares. We're going to create a new file called IsAuthenticated.ts. So this is the name of our middleware, and it's going to check if a user is authenticated or not. So the first thing we need to do is we need to import a few things. We're going to need to import Prisma client from Prisma/client so we can send queries to our database using Prisma. And we're also going to need JWT, so import JWT from JSON Web Token, sorry. So now we can instantiate or create an instance of the Prisma client class. So we can do const Prisma equals new Prisma client. And now when we type Prisma dot, you can see we have all the stuff that Prisma does, so you can send queries and stuff. Okay, so now we need to make our middleware. So to do that, it's going to be a function. So we're going to do export, it's going to be a function, so export const IsAuthenticated equals async. It's going to be it's going to be an asynchronous function. And yeah, so over here, we're going to pass in the request, response, and next. You can see it's giving us an error because we haven't specified any types for it. So right now, if I go over here and I type in rec dot, it won't give me any IntelliSense because we haven't specified what the type is going to be. So to do that, we need to import the types from Express. So from Express, we're going to import request, like this. So that's the interface for the request types, response, and next function. So now we can apply those types with the colon. So the request is the request, response is response, and next is next function. Now if we type rec dot, you can see we have all the IntelliSense. So as always, we're going to start off with some checks. So we can do if, the first thing we're going to do is we're going to check if they have a missing authorization header. If they don't have an authorization header, so we can do if rec.headers authorization. So authorization is basically a type of header. You should probably know about that if you don't learn it. So yeah, and then so if they have no authorization header, then you want to return to them an error. So you can do rest.status 400.json success false because it wasn't a success, it was an error. The error message will be missing authorization header provided. Okay, cool. So now that we've done that, we're gonna make a couple of variables. So the first one is gonna be auth header. So const auth header equals rec.headers authorization. So this is just gonna set a variable called auth header and set it to the authorization header value from the headers. So you should know what a header is, by the way. I'll show you in Postman in a later episode. But yeah. Okay, so now we need to find in authorization headers, there are different forms of authorization, like the one we're going to be using for JWT is bearer, as I explained in the first video. So we need to make a variable for the authorization method they used and check for it. So you can do const auth method equals auth header dot split 0. Okay, so now we have a variable, this is the index by the way. So now we have a variable called auth method, which is gonna give us the, the method of the authorization header. And by the way, let me just annotate that. And this as well. Okay, so now we need to create a variable for the access token equals auth header dot split. But this time the arg is going to be 1. Okay, so now we have these two variables. Should give that type annotation. So now you have these two variables you can use and you can check for them. So we can do if auth method or access token. We can return rest.status 400.json. Where we go? Okay. .json success false error invalid auth header. Okay, so this is just basically checking if there is no auth method or if there is no access token. We're going to return an error message that says the authorization method was invalid, and that would be the same thing for if the access token was invalid as well. Okay, so now we're going to make a else if auth method is not equal to bearer. So since we're using bearer as our authorization method, if it's not equal to bearer, then we need to return an error as well. So return rest.status 400.json success false error invalid auth method, since we're only going to be using bearer. Okay, so now we're going to create a variable called token body. It's going to be of type any, and this is just basically just going to be the the body of our token is going to have some data such as the user ID and other stuff. So we can implement it in a try catch statement. So you can do try catch. So in our catch statement, we're going to return an error, because in this specific try catch statement, it would only return an error that the that the token is invalid. So the error is going to be invalid token. And yeah. So in our try statement though, we have to set this token body to JWT.verify token and secret, or sorry, access token and the secret. So this you would like generate a random string like this using something like crypto, but I'm just going to set to secret. So they're just going to verify, assign this token body to verifying if the access token is equal to a secret. Yeah, so what I suggest you do is, for this to work, the access token secret has to be the same. So in auth.ts, what I suggest you do is inside of your .env, you'd create two, properties or whatever, called access token secret, and yeah, so access token secret, you can just set it over here, but right now we're just going to put everything to secret like this. So hopefully you get that. And then, yeah, so it's going to assign token body to verifying if the access token is equal to the access token secret. So now we can check, so this is just catching, like, whatever else will happen, or just catch, and then it'll just return if the token is invalid. There's another way you can check it. So we can do if token body dot user ID. So if it's not the user ID, then that means the token is invalid as well. So you can do rest.status 400.json success false error, invalid token. Okay, so now we can check if the we can find the user. So you can make a user variable. So you can do const user equals await prisma.user.findUnique. So we're just searching our database where the ID is equal to the token body dot user ID. So just checking. Okay, there. So we're just setting a variable called user. We're searching our database, the user row, to check if the ID inside of that row is equal to our token body's user ID property. So now we have that variable. You can just do if user does not exist, then you can just, so this means like not, so just reverses whatever type this is. So if there is no user, then you can do rest.status 400.json success false error user does not exist. Okay, so now we can just set our request.user, which is that we can get this only because we added our typings and made that user property global. So we can do rec.user equals user. So we're going to set it to this user variable over here, which is querying our database. So now we can just do next, call the next function, which is going to keep this going. So we have successfully completed our middleware. I'm not actually going to try it out in this video, since trying it out in the next video would be it would fit a lot better. So you'll see that in the next video, which will be out very soon. But basically how you'd implement it is inside of your auth. Let's say you want to use it. So you just import it like IsAuthenticated from /middleware/IsAuthenticated. And then what you do is if you have a route like this, protected, rest.send protected. To apply the middleware, all you have to do is you have to do IsAuthenticated like that. So just pass it in. So as I said, this is going to be a lot better to try. I would try this out, but it's getting quite long and I want to keep it short, not like my other videos. So I'll show this in the next video, which will be out very soon. So make sure to check that out. And basically what this will do is that if you apply the middleware, then if you are not authenticated, if you're not logged in, then this will return forbidden. But if you are, then it'll give you this protected. Okay, so we're going to try that in the next video. So other than that, I hope you enjoyed this video. Make sure to like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye.